Hello guys, this is Deathdealer and welcome back to yet another episode on the AutoCraft SMP server. I've been doing a bunch more planning for this mega base because we don't have long left before Minecraft 1.17 releases and I really want to finish this thing before it comes. So today we're going to be working on this level we're working on last time, so we're going to be filling this up with 4 laboratories for scientific experiments, and later on in this episode we're finally going to be working on our nether hub, which we've been teasing for quite some time. Alright, so picking off from where we left off last episode, this is where the laboratories are going to go. So obviously there are 4 doorways coming off of this thing, but we're only going to be working with 2 of them. So the one side going to the east, and then the west side over there as well. That's where these laboratories are going to be going. We're going to be leaving the north and south clear for now. That's because we're eventually going to be filling them with some cargo bays. So basically, to make the maximum use of the space we have here, what we need to do is we need to carry on this design we've done here by building out a corridor. So a corridor going out over here, and we'll have an airlock at the end. And then the laboratories will be coming off from either side. But before we do that, there's something I'd like to say real quick. I'd like to say a massive thank you for 6,000 subscribers. This is a massive milestone. And if you're watching this video and you haven't subbed yet, please make this the day that you consider subscribing. But with that being said, let's get into today's project. So let's turn on hyperspeed build mode and let's start this project. And after a little bit of time, the laboratories are now complete. One thing you'll notice immediately is there's a big gap in the door because we're eventually going to be putting some flying machine doors in this section. But before we do that, let's actually take a look at what we've been working on. So basically for this project, what I wanted a room that was secured off from the rest of the base. So that's why we have a room behind a layer of glass. Now we do have a door on either side, which will probably set up a iron door to stop, entities and stuff from getting out, because we'll be storing entities in some of these labs. So this room over here is the experimentation room, and this room is where we'll be taking observations, and we've got some scientific equipment on these tables here, even though it's just a brewing stand, a pressure plate, and a flower pot. Let's just pretend these actually have a function, because yeah, they do look good. So yeah, we've done this 4 times. We've got it on this side, we've got 1 over there, and then we've got 2 on the opposite side of the base over there. Once again, we continued with the same design that we've been using throughout this base, with a mix of quartz, grey concrete, and our grey assortment of blocks. Now you may have noticed I never closed off the end of this hallway right here, so obviously we've got the doors here, but I left it open on both sides because I'm thinking of putting in an airlock. It won't actually function, of course, because this is Minecraft. It will basically be used as a quick way to access this level from outside the base, because having to travel all the way through the base to reach one location isn't always great. But before we work on these doors here, I think we should jump into a redstone testing world to see how these doors actually function before we build them. So here we are in a tester world. This is just an old backup, a very old backup of the server, and I use this for planning my base. Hence why there are different base pieces sitting around the world here. So if we access one of the hallways, you can see we have some doors right here. So rather than explaining these first, I guess we should do a demonstration. So let's use this button and the door activates. It is fairly simple. All it is a bunch of flying machines that fly up and fly down. And here it is from a side-on view if you're curious as to how it's constructed. In fact, this side would probably be a better view. Now, since our activation switch is up top, it does mean that it is a little bit harder to reach, but we shouldn't really have all that much trouble with it. And not only that, we need to make sure we can access it from both sides, hence why there's some redstone dust placed all over the top of this thing. But with that being said, let's jump back on to the AutoCraft server, enable hyperspeed build mode once again, and build these 4 doors. Alright, so the doors are now finished. You might have noticed a little mistake I made in the time-lapse when I was building these doors, so if you didn't, make sure you go back to the time-lapse and watch it again. And when I made that mistake, I fixed it, or I thought I did, and then I went to test these doors off camera and this one broke immediately. But I can happily say that it's now working as planned. Now all we need to do is we need to label each of these labs, so I need to go and get some, I don't know, some dark oak signs and some white dye. Yeah, that'll work nicely. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and finally this is lab number 4. Awesome, now all of the labs have been labelled. Now the main reason this is being labelled is because we want to fill these labs with different things. In order to do that, let's head on over to the shopping district. So you may have seen this in the other AutoCrafters videos, but there's been this thing called the Fox Den here for a while now. This is a fabricated shop run by the mechanic, and the whole idea behind this is he fits a fox den and provides foxes for his customers. And everyone else in the server has one, apart from me, so let's get one. Alright, so we're inside the shop now. We just went through the little crawl space right there. And basically for our thing, what we need is we need to adopt at least 2 foxes, maybe more. We'll probably do 2 because that'll be easier for the mechanic, and we'll also need to commission a habitat. Let's see how much that costs. Alright, so I've read through the lecterns provided here, and for 2 foxes this is going to cost us 25 diamonds. So let's go ahead and put our thing in here, along with the... That's only 15 diamonds, I need another 10. Let's just go into our shulker box real quick. Yeah. I'm not good with numbers, am I? And there we go. Okay, so we need to split that up into 10. And there we go. There is 25 diamonds. Now for the habitat itself, the mechanic with this shop, he has to get back to me. There isn't a fixed cost, but the price is due at the end of the project. So I'm just going to put my thing in here and we'll wait to hear back from him. Alright, so that's the first laboratory planned out, so we're going to get mechanic to come in and set up fox den. We need to fill in the other labs, but I'm going to have other members of the server do that. So Splash, whose ship is right behind me, she's going to come on over and make a small representation of the planet her ship's crew come from, and I think that'll be quite nice to have. We have another thing planned for one of the other laboratories, but I'm not going to spoil that for now because I want to wait until that person who's doing that gets on that project. You know who you are. Ever since I've built this, one thing I like to do is I like to take low angle shots of this thing. You may have noticed it in the last episode. We changed up the thumbnail fairly quickly to have a low angle shot of this thing just because of the sheer scale of this base. Like, I don't know if you know this, but I've never built in this scale before. Well, not for a base anyways. And I'm really happy that I decided to do that at this point. Although it would have been a lot better if I did this at the beginning of the season as opposed to the last 3 months. That wasn't a smart idea. But rather than working on this project some more, we're going to leave that for another episode because I need to pace out this project a bit. I don't want to do too much work on it in one sitting because let's just say I'll get burnt out and I really don't want that. So next up, let's go and meet up with the captains of industry so that we can get started on this nether hub.
Will you please get in the chairs? I built you chairs. This is just rude.
I am not constrained by your human rules. Do what I want. And I want to stand on the chair. It's a very nice chair. Very good to stand.
Okay.
Hi.
This is where you get started, Death.
Yes. So, thank you for joining me. We have a little bit of a problem here, you see. So, I don't know if you've noticed this, but it's now the month of May. And, 1.17 is right around the corner, and we still don't have an nether hub.
Yeah, I agree. I really think you guys dropped the ball on this. You know, you guys really started this way earlier. Okay. Okay, sure, fine. I'll help.
Good.
We do have a design, and we've gathered all the resources for it now. It's taken us quite a bit of time, so we can actually do that now if we'd like.
Yeah, sure. I've got time.
Yeah, I've got plenty of time.
And I mean, I think that's basically everything that we wanted to talk about. But I do have one more thing
Ooh, map.
for you to look at.
Oh, this is
Oh,
cool.
oh, this is
This
great.
is
Wow.
awesome. When did you do this?
There was a couple weeks ago when I had told Death not to come by because I was doing something. Uh, it's actually been like almost a month now ago I did this. I've been waiting for this meeting for a while.
Oh, this looks so
Oh
good.
gosh, that is really, really cool. I mean, fair, Death can no longer reach his diamonds, because that will
It's all
happen.
good.
But that is
Oh,
really awesome. That is
so
really, really cool.
I figured we could plaster this around all our stores.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is really cool.
Yeah, that's
Because
awesome.
no one else has a nice logo like this. Though I do think the imagery is slightly ironic given the Captains of Industry name.
Just a bit. I am getting some heavy socialist vibes from this design.
I have a thing for wheats and gears.
Well, okay. So, get started on Nether Hub?
Yes, let's.
Let's go. And at long last, the Nether Hub is finished. This project has been in the making for quite some time. This was initially planned several months ago, and it took us until now to get it done, but I'm happy to say that it's finally done. After all that was done, I spent a bunch of time moving all the portals up so that they were level with the new height of the hub itself, and while I was doing that, Splash came along and put some basalt stairs along the edges here so that we can walk up from the bedrock. Because yeah, we couldn't do that before and it was kind of annoying when we were building this thing. So here's a funny story about this. So obviously this is a map of the world and you can see where all the portals and stuff are. That represents people's bases and stuff. I've actually been imagining this map for most of the server's lifespan so far. So when I've been navigating the Nether Hub, since we don't really label our portals, which is a bad thing, what I've been doing is I picture where we are in the world and I picture where I need to go. And yeah, we don't need to do that anymore, which is quite good. Now this is where our base is, and I've been thinking about it, and I think we're eventually going to be putting a nether portal right here. I will need to prepare something in the overworld side, obviously, to get this thing to work. But yeah, this hub is fantastic, and I'm happy that we finally got around to doing it. Alright, so before we wrap things up here, I want to make a few announcements. So, as you may know, the season is starting to wrap up for quite a few of our members because we're going to be resetting for Minecraft 1.17. And yeah, we still have a bunch of work to do. So in the next few episodes, we're going to be working solely on the base itself, whether that's the structure, the stuff we're going to be doing under the mountains next time, or the area around the base. And we're going to be working on this in quick succession. So we're going to be making a bunch of progress, building different things, and well, yeah, it's a base stuff, and we need to get this thing finished. I still have so many plans for this area that we haven't got around to doing yet, and I feel that we won't have the time hence why I'm going to be speeding up production of episodes and getting this thing complete. Speaking of episodes, going forth I'm thinking of making a little change. So up until now I've always aimed for the 20-minute episode. I haven't always achieved that, sometimes I have, but the problem we have there is the pacing of the episode is strange. The first half of the video, so normally the first 10 minutes, is perfectly fine, but after that point things start to naturally slow down. And well, yeah, I'm losing viewers at that point and I don't really like that. So I'm thinking of aiming for a more 15-minute video style. And I think that's going to be better for you guys to watch, and it's going to be better for me to actually make content, because it means that I can spend a bit more time doing these videos and make them 100% better. And last but not least, one thing I'd like to announce is applications for AutoCraft Season 2 are now open. So if you're a content creator, if you're above the age of 16, and you like the sound of our server, why don't you head on over to the application, there's a link to that in the description, and apply. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that, why don't you leave a like and subscribe and hit the bell icon. And hey, why don't you check out this video?